that these beings that I'm mentioning, such as like the bobbies, and Grillix, okay, they're using this technology to drain water also from this planet. So that means that including the water from the humanoid, all water is included, is what they're talking about here. Okay, and it's been documented through. You can look at a document. You can look up a series called the KGB Alien Races. Okay, and it'll tell you what these beings' agendas are. So now, for these orders that they have in place, such as this COVID-19, right? I want to get into that because this goes to show you that the Draconians, the Romardians, all of them they're all tied in together with this COVID. And I'm going to go into full detail because a lot are not talking about the actual COVID. They're missing a whole lot about the COVID, you know what I mean? And different planets, especially with the insectoids, okay, as such as I call him Willie Gates, that is a part, he's part salamander, and that's not the real Billy Gates anyway, okay, but we're going to get into that. But what I want to let you all know is that these beings, okay, they want to, what you would call, ultimately get rid of the rightful beings that are to be here. And that's why we're here. Okay. So this whole COVID thing surrounds eliminating the main heads. You understand that?
Right.
And the COVID is what you would call draconian, Draco, but without the D. Corona is draconian, which is Dracula, okay, which is from Draco. And like I said, it comes from Hatan, and this is where they get their name, Satan or Shaitan in Arabic, or Satan in what they would call the Anglo-Saxon, down into the English, okay? The corona is the crown. The corona is the crown, all right? And they know it. Now, when you go into the word corvid, C-O-R-V-I-D, corvid is a black bird, which is a what? A raven, okay? Why would you name such a major planedemic bacteria, this breakout, as a black bird? Because of what? It was a code 19 for the what? Not only for the Balats, the carbonated millennium, but also for the Caucasus.
Can you say it again, please? Because
the COVID is a black bird. That is a jackdaw, Jackdaw, which is a raven, like a crow. You got that? You got that? Pardon me 1 minute.
Okay, Nayya, you'll have to explain. Alfred, he was explaining that the COVID is actually a black bird, which is quite interesting because there's been a lot of references to birds. With the Nightingale Hospital, that's a bird as well. And somebody else was breaking that down. So it's quite interesting. Can you hear me okay, Alfred? I'm not sure whether or not you can hear me.
Audio is fine.
Okay, so
I'm here.
yeah, so Nayya is breaking down. Nayya, can you slow it down so that we can take in the information, because I've just joined you. Thank you for coming on, and greetings to Melchisedek as well. So Nayya, can you explain what you was talking about a black bird, and the black bird is symbolic of the COVID, is that right?
Correct.
Can you break it down a little bit for me?
Yes, I'll break it down for you all as in wholeness, because that's what we're, functioning on. As the GIJ comma J equals 0, because that is reason why I'm gonna present this before I go any further, because this is a unified theorem. We're not dealing with theories. We're dealing with theorem, because theorem is infallible truth that is proven to be true. This can be proven to be true. If that cannot be proven to be true, that is a theory. That's like what Einstein and Newton and a lot of them, they were dealing with theories. Here we're dealing with theorem. That means God Almighty Grand Unified Theorem. That means it all is unified. So all of that knowledge there, all of that wisdom, that understanding, overstanding, equality, and just all of it is unified. Okay, up under the mother equation, which is GIJ comma J equals 0, which is now and forever. So
Nayya, just 1 second. You said GI. Can you explain what that means? You're going a little bit fast for me. Sorry, you'll have to go slower so that.
Okay, no problem. The G, which is representing the G, which is representing the geometry of all shapes. Okay, which is in space. It's this infinite space, okay? Because it shapes throughout all galaxies. All galaxies have shapes. So now the I is the intelligence, okay? Within.
So do you mean sacred geometry?
Excuse me?
Is this sacred geometry we're talking about?
Yeah, we're talking about sacred, the highest sacred geometry.
Okay.
And this sacred geometry, supreme sacred geometry, because I had named it Sasut. Okay, we'll get into that on another note, but the supreme sacred geometry, it represents all formations. You follow?
Okay.
Dealing with velocities, densities, fluid temperature, pressure, conformal invariance, parameters, arbitrary functionings, group of transformations, quantum physics, as in 1 + 1 = 3, and so on. This is the mother of all of it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And what do you call that? What do you call that?
It's called Gagut.
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 Yes.
Okay. Are you familiar with this, Alfred? Gargut.
I'm learning a lot from this talk.
Okay. So go ahead, Nayya. So Gargut. So Gargut encompasses the whole, the galaxies,
Yes.
the different solar systems, different
Yes.
paradigms, the different,
Yes.
okay, the different spheres. Okay. And it is it is visually, it's sacred geometry. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So continue, please. But go at a slow pace so that I can really digest and the audience can also digest what you're sharing with us, because it's fascinating. Go ahead.
Okay.
Thank you, Nayya.
Yes, no problem. Honors to you all.
Honors to you. And also to you, Melchisedek, who's gardening. They make devices, but we're going to get into that in a minute. Get your devices ready so that we can share them as well, Melchisedek, because they're very important as far as protecting the body from the microwave radiation. That's fascinating. What is it?
That is the
That's fascinating.
that is the Ankh, which is the Wajet, the Jed, the Was, the Scepter. Okay, that is the life dealing with the electrons. Okay, dealing with the neutrons in the body. Okay, and all existence. Okay, and it goes with this, which is this brain. Okay, is a Gagonite device created by Lord Michael Melchisedek, and that is to make you remember on how beautiful and precious the body is, to have such an organ in that position to function at the rate that is functioning at. Sort of where you would say how they got the computer. And
Say
they
that
love
again.
their computers right now.
Repeat that for me, please, Nayya. I couldn't hear what you did.
That brain,
Repeat.
that brain is a Gagonite brain that was created by Lord Michael Melchisedek Moore. Okay.
Okay.
And it's to remind you of how precious and how beautiful and how important that it is to have such an organ that sits in the vessel that functions at the rate that is functioning. Sort of like how these people are with their computers, where the computer comes from. You understand?
Right. Right. I get it.
So
I get it. It's true. We don't appreciate how much the work the brain does. We don't. We take it for granted until something goes wrong. Do you know what I mean? So thank you for reminding us. It's very important. It is very important. So can you continue your talk about the ore we were talking about, the gagut? Okay.
The gagut.
So can you continue? Gagut.
Now, the gagut, what it does, it reverses what is not. Okay, what is not is the theories are the propaganda that is not. Gagut is love. Gagut deals with the mother and the father. Okay, the ma, which is M-A, and the pata, or the pata, like father, but it's pata. Okay, so it's the balance that it deals with. Okay, of both as being Father God and Mother God. Because when you go into ancient Kemet, and when you go into, let's go before, when you go into Southern Africa, you will see that it is stories and carvings there that predates Kemet itself and Sumer. This is what we're dealing with Gagut. This is the story that they didn't want to be told. You understand? So
unfortunately, you broke up quite a lot. So I didn't really catch what you just said. Unfortunately, I did hear that you were saying that it predates the mother. You were talking about the mother and the father, and this principle predates Kemet. But can you relate it in terms of, you were talking about a bird in relation to the COVID, because this is COVIDGATE. So what we want to do is to get your perspective on the whole situation as what we're defining as COVIDGATE, please. Okay. Just so that for the audience that is tuning in, that is the theme that we're doing. And I know you do quite a lot of talks about this. So I'm very interested in that. I'm also very interested in the things that you've made that are protective mechanisms, how people can use copper and shungite and various different other devices to protect the human body from the onslaught of radiation. So if you can explain, just to rewind back a little bit so that you can talk a little bit more about the bird having a connection to this COVIDGATE. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Thank
you.
You.
Give me just one moment. Hold on. Just one moment.
Were you able to hear okay, Alfred?
Yeah.
Yes, I have.
Are you
no
able to hear
problems.
okay? I think Alfred is frozen.
I'm here.
Alfred, you just said something.
Yeah, I have no audio problems. I can hear everything. They aren't interfering with my audio. They're interfering with your audio.
Excuse me.
Okay, so you can hear me okay. All right, that's great. And you can hear Nayya, or you can hear everything. That's what.
Yes, I can hear everything.
Oh, okay, I get that. All right. So everything is clear.
Yes.
Okay, so go ahead, Nayya, please.
Okay. Now, as I was telling you about the COVID is a jackdaw, okay, which is a black bird. And I have that symbol here. That's one of my symbols here. It's called the Nasu. Okay, this is the ancient bird that is also in South Africa and also represented in Kush and in Kemet. Okay, this is the COVID we're talking about. Okay, brace yourself, because this COVID is here now, speaking to everybody. Okay, I am the black bird. That is my symbol. So I asked, why would you use a symbol? Why would you use a name called COVID? And this is representing a black bird. You're gonna go there. The COVID is really not what they're telling the people, okay? I'm going to go into this, and we're going to just iron all of that, the rest of that out, because it all ties in together. There's things that I have to say before I go into this area, okay? COVID-19 is a code 19, which means disaster alert. This acronym, slang, usually belongs to the government or the military category, particularly in the police code, the abbreviations. There is a code 19, right, in the windows with Billy Gates, okay, the salamander. That code 19, that is a disaster alert, was a disaster alert inside of the computer, inside the windows that are errors.
Okay. Okay. Is it when it was DOS and is it in its formative inception? Is that what you mean? Or is it still part of the computer system now, Nayya?
It's a part of the computer system right now.
Right.
Because of the awakening, not the consciousness, because the consciousness is to con the science that is. You don't never want to try to con the science. That's why I'm not Black conscious community. I'm not conscious about none of that. I am in existence. I am all. So therefore I am awakened. So I am wide open to everything that there is. Sort of like that movie which you would call Lucy. Got to be humorous, you know. So the this Windows era is because that the awakening has happened, and they know that they are holding accounts, you know, on Wall Street, in the depository trust, on 55 Water Street, also with all of these big basketball stars, all of these stars, they're holding accounts. And right now is that since this shift is happening, the code 19 is the what? Is the what of the first and the end, of the beginning and the ending of what they will call the Alpha and Omega, the 1 and the 9, okay, which is 10, okay? So that would be 0. This is into Gagut. This goes into Gagut now. The 0, which is before the 1, because all formations come out of the 0, out of the dot. Every last formation you have comes out from the dot, out from the circle. And that's in
right.
all mystical schools.
Right.
So the 1 and the 9, the code of the beginning and the end. And that's why we're here now, because this is the beginning.
Wow. Wow. I get you. Okay. Wow. That's deep. Wow.
This is
Now
the
that's
beginning
deep.
of
Keep
their
going,
ending.
Nayya. I'm finding this extremely interesting.
This is
Okay,
the
1 second, Nayya. Let me just time check with Alfred. Now, Alfred, we are 1955 on the clock. And we started, I don't know when we actually got started due to all the sabotage and interference. I think we've been going for probably, not sure entirely how long we've had Nayya just being able to speak. So I need you to be able to tell me how much longer, because we've got 4 minutes left before.
Yeah. Why don't we go for another 60 minutes?
Oh, that's great. That's wonderful. So, Nayya, you've got another 60 minutes, and Melchisedek, this is going to be riveting, people, because this is a perspective that you'll never hear anywhere else. You know, these are the some of the greatest scientists that man doesn't know, amongst the wonderful Alfred Weber. And you are in certainly good company, both of you, because Alfred is the perfect person to share this information with. So, and the audience, of course, because I believe your audience are extremely learned, Alfred. So I think you're going to get a lot from this. It's a perspective that you won't find anywhere. So, you know, you're going to enjoy this. So, Nayya, the floor is yours. Please go. So we're talking about the beginning and the end, the one being the beginning and the 9 being the end. Is that right? And then obviously we get a reset back to 0 again. And the 0 is supposed to be symbolic of the Most High.
Yes.
That's right. So in numerology and in code, the zeros are actually the reset. That's actually, so for instance, if you look at the clock and it says 0000, that is said to be the Most High communicating with you. Did you know that? I'm sure you guys did, but that's a little bit of information for you. So go ahead, Nayya.
Okay. Honors for giving me.
Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. Everybody can hear me?
Yes, please.
Okay. Honors to you all for, and honors to you, Alfred, for letting this run another 60 minutes.
Yes.
It's really new tactic. It's like people say fantastic and black tastic. No, it's really new tactic because it's the universe that is like allowing this. Like, this has to be done. Like, you ready? Let's go. So now. The beginning and the ending, this is why we're here, because it's a global reset. And this is why Trump, Vladimir Putin, Kim Jong-un, all of these, Angela Merkel, Canada, what's his name, Truman or something like that. Anyway, all of these people, even in India, what's his name?
Trudeau, isn't it?
Yeah, Trudeau, yes, out there in Canada. So this here shows that the ending of their philosophies, their fairy tales, like their theories, all of that, even with the children in school, all of this is the ending now. This is the beginning, okay, of their ending. So the 0, when you combine that 1 and that 9, which is the 10, that is to start over, to give all of this a reset. Like, you reset everything, like you press that reset button. Okay, everything is reset now. So this is what we're getting into, a reset. All right? And that's with the body as well. That's why I said it's a code. 19, it's a code of the Most High. You got that?
So why do you, can I ask you, Nayya, why do you think that they use the black bird? What's the symbolism behind the bird that you describe as the COVID bird? What is the symbolism?
Because what they do, remember what they do when they show their little movies with the scarecrows, the movie called The Birds back in the 70s and the 80s, these black birds, it creates fear. And to them, it represents death. You understand?
Yeah, because actually, one brother I was talking to, Galactic Clyde, who I really wanted to get on as well. But anyway, he was talking about the Nightingale Hospital being the Nighting and the Gale. He described it as a call to death. That's what apparently the Nightingale, because you know they've opened this hospital in this place called the Excel Centre in the UK, and it's humongous. It's a huge stadium whereby they created this place and they put all these hospital beds. And this place they call the Nightingale. Now the Nightingale we know is a bird, but he broke it down to mean like a call, a nightingale. It's like the call of death. That was the meaning. So that would be, you know, quite sort of consistent with what you're saying, Nayya. So so the bird is symbolic of representing the fear that is being utilized in order to disempower, in a way, because obviously once you go into fear mode, you lose your ability to be empowered and to enforce your rights, or even to stand up for your rights. Is that what you're saying, Nayya?
Yes. Yes.
Can you elaborate, please?
Now I'm going to go to a higher level with this, because see, a lot of these people that are explaining certain things about birds, and you know, and like you mentioned about the hospital, see, what we do in Gaga is reverse that. This is why we use the ta and the ma. This is why we call it ma'at or machat. Okay, and that nasu, that black bird, right, is one of the only birds that can utilize tools to build. The black bird, when you look at this black bird, that crow, that raven, what it does, it can take tools, create the tools to build other things, you know, other tools, and to get what they want. Like, they have the ability to look from 50 feet away from you and further, 50 feet away from you, directly into your eyeball, into your pupil, and looking at the direction of your eye. If it's something in that they want that is in your eyesight, that you're facing that direction, they will actually test you to see if you are actually focusing on what they're looking at just by looking at your pupil. If you turn for one and that's it, they're coming for it. They swoop right down and come and get it. This is how beautiful and accurate the jackdaw, the black bird eyesight is. And they're very crafty, okay? Like I said, if you set up a maze with all different kinds of, you know, objects and things, and at the end of the maze, okay, the beginning of the maze, let's go here. The beginning of the maze, you have these objects here that need to apply to this object at the ending, okay, of the maze. Don't you know that black bird will start at the beginning and utilize its magnetic perception, which gives you the ability to know of altitude and direction, okay? So this is dealing with processing information, okay? This is a black bird we're talking about. So it will be in that maze, and don't you know, before long, it'll be done, use everything from that first, in the middle, to the last to succeed into doing what it knows, what is to be done at the end. It already knows from the start. This is what I'm saying. This is how they're using this black bird as a symbol of fear because they are using it as the craftiness. They're using it as a scare tactic. They're using it as death. This is what they're doing, is a fear program, okay? A brain stimulants of fear. And this is why they're using that black bird. They're not using the eagle. They're not using the falcon. They're not using the hawk. They're using the black bird. That's why I said, why would you use the black bird? Why? And the conclusion is because that the accuracy of this bird and the blackness of this bird is what you would call charcoal black. Complete. It's complete. And that's what the jackdaws, that's what the corvid birds deal with. Completeness, wholeness.
Okay. So are there other messages in there? I mean, is there a reason why? Does it tie into this whole race war that's happening as well? I mean, or is that something completely different?
Run that back to me again. I was just having a conversation. Just pardon me. What you said now?
Okay, I was just saying, does it tie into the race war that we're seeing that is being manufactured as well? Because
Yes.
is there a reason? Obviously, you know, when you talk about black people, the race of black was created, I think it was in 1761, or I can't remember the actual date, but it's around that time that the whole concept of race was created. Before that, we were known by nations. We were people that came from different parts of the world. We weren't called black, white, or what have you. That's pretty much a modern phenomena, you know. So when we talk about this black bird and then we're seeing all this race stuff that's happening, is that part of the whole symbolism of this black bird that you're talking about?
Yes, it is.
Does it tie in? Okay.
Yes, it is, because remember that it's this guy who they went after, that they put up here, George Floyd, right? They say he's a carbonated melaninite, not black, but they have the image that he's black, okay? So notice what happened, that when the COVID, okay, when the COVID-19, that is an error in the Windows that was launched February 3rd from Billy William Gates, okay, that was launched February 3rd, that you can go and look that up, COVID-19 Windows error. It'll say February 3rd, that was launched, okay? And what happened is—
Which year?
In
Nayya,
2020.
which year was that? February 3rd, what year? Oh, there was an error in the Windows in 20. Okay. Now that's interesting. So go ahead.
Okay. So by that Windows having an error, and notice that it's window error. So how would you know that it's an error? Who's looking through the window? I love it because it's very obvious to us of what's going on here. So here it is, the COVID-19, February 3rd was launched of 2020 in the registry, okay, of your operating system, and it causes serious problems with the hardware devices connected to the systems. So this will lead to hardware devices malfunctioning and not working on your operating system. And that's what was happening on a mass scale. Things were shutting down, and they're like,
yeah, I've had no end of problems since this year, actually. It's interesting that you should say that. And they installed in my machine another version of Windows 10. I didn't ask for it. They just updated it and put it into my system. So there might be, you know, perhaps if I look deeper, I will start to unravel some of the things you're sharing with us. So there was basically something that took place with computers on the 3rd of February. And was that called Code 19, did you say?
Yes.
Wow. 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 Okay, so how does it tie in? How does all these things tie in? And also with the 5G, we have the 5G situation as well, Nayya.
Okay. Now, I'm going to give it to you in a whole. What this all is about the lack of understanding and the lack of the knowledge, okay, and the unawareness of the wisdom of the God presence that is inside of the vessels and that is in all of existence, no matter where you go. So they say, well, these draconians, these Bobbies, all of these evil malicious beings say, you know what? We want to gather our troops, because this is why Donald Trump and them had signed for the Space Force. Why would you have a Space Force? To protect you from what? What would you have a space troop force for? What is that for? Like Space Ghost and his crew. So you got Trump starting the space program, okay? That is of the Anunnakis. That is that we're here already. It's not that we're coming. We're here already. We're here now, okay? So they use the fear tactic because it was an error, and the black bird to start the war with what they would call the black, right? With a police, and also with what? An outbreak, which they say that came from Wuhan, but is also another laboratory, right? I'm gonna tie you all of this in. There's another laboratory that is 4 hours away from the first Wuhan laboratory. It's another laboratory that is 4 hours away from there, okay? Where you can buy all kinds of underground animals and humans and all sorts of weird stuff that they deal with. So by them having this error because of the awareness, they said, you know what we have to do? We have to cover up. See, we have to cover up our shame now.
Cover up the what? Sorry?
The shame. See, they're full of shame now. See, they're shame because their time is up. So they have to cover up their faces, like what they would call gang members. You understand that? Give me a moment.
No, I didn't hear the last bit. I heard the cover up the shame, and then you said something about mirrors, which I couldn't because the signal is very bad. Can you repeat that, please?
It's gang member appearance. Okay, that's what it is. When they come and start their wars and what they do, just like the ISIS and all them, what they do, cover up their faces.
Oh, I see. So go ahead. Mm-hmm.
So here it is.
So you mean like balaclavas and stuff? Mm-hmm. I hear you. Go ahead.
So here it is. Like I said, February 3rd launches Code 19, which is a what? An error in the registry. How is that an error in the registry? what is that registry? That is for what? People. That is for what? Property. This is what they're doing. And right after this, they come with George Floyd. The G and the F is the general functioning. This is also in Gagut now, because they know about Gagut. They know about it. And they're using certain parts of the formulas of Gagut to try to manipulate people. That's why we're here again, to reverse it so they won't succeed in that, because that's why we're here. That's why solutionaries, that's why Lord Michael Melchisedek, Alfred, and all the rest, that's why we're here, to take them apart, to show them that you're wrong, that you cannot continue on doing this to people. You understand?
It's interesting because in the UK, there's a series which is called Gangs of London that was launched at the same time as, you know, the whole lockdown situation. That was one of the things, because, you know, I'm very clued into the whole Operation Mockingbird language, because it's a language that they utilize.
Right.
And so usually they signal when they're actually doing things and when they're carrying out certain things. So the truth of what is really going on plays out in the theaters, they script the truth into well-known productions. And when I saw the launch of, I mean, they'd had a few episodes, but there's something called, I remember it was on Twitter, and it had a lot of hashtags, or it was quite well, you know, it was a popular hashtag, I should say, and it was Gangs of London. And I remember this whole lockdown situation, to me, was basically mafia. It was mafioso. There's no virus. Everybody in the in crowd knows there's no virus. You know, it's a whole manufactured situation and being carried out by criminals. And so when I saw this Gangs of London, it is reminiscent of these kind of balaclava wearing, you know, when they cover up their faces with bandanas. And we did, of course, see lots of people with their faces covered up with bandanas, you know. So it's quite interesting that you flagged that up. So, you know, where are we in the timeline from your point of view, Nayya? Because obviously we know how this ends. We know that the higher frequency, the love, the truth is the one that will shine through in this situation. So from your point of view, where are we in the timeline? Because obviously we're having an upgrade. You know, those people that were in oblivion, quite a lot of those people now are no longer in oblivion. The average person who watched mainstream media when they came out and said all these people are dying, the average person probably felt, oh my God, you know, which is why you've got on people's homes in London, thank you to the nurses, thank you to the bus drivers. You know, if you walk around houses of London, you'll see people have put these things up. So, you know, there's obviously a portion of society that actually believes this narrative, as they've believed all the false flags before. However, you know, those people have transitioned from being oblivious to the reality of the situation to being people who now know that we got a lot of garbage going on and there's some serious manipulation and, you know, really it's an abuse of power, isn't it? Because obviously people have been killed, you know. So where are we in the timeline from your point of view, Nayya?
Well, from the all view, you know, and this is speaking from God's eyes, okay? Because the reason why I say that is because the falcon is one of the only birds that can look directly into the sun because it has a double eyeball, and it's one of the fastest birds, which travels at 285 miles an hour. Okay, I see this from God's vision. How what we're in right now is that we are in a state of what you would call supreme growth. It's like what you would call a lotus. Okay, we are in a state of prosperity, like very much. And when I seen people talk about the five,
What? Say
the
that
five,
again. We're in.
excuse me.
I didn't hear you. You said that we're in the stage like the lotus, but then I missed the last part of what you said.
We're in a state.
Can you repeat that for me, please?
We're in a state like the lotus, okay? And the lotus is dealing with change. It's dealing with prosperity, okay? It's dealing with calmness, okay? It's dealing with strength and beauty, okay? Transformation, okay? Dealing with the water, using the water as what? As a protector, as a cleanser, okay? As a perfectionist, okay? And that's what the lotus does, and that's what we're dealing with. That's what the state that we're in right now. When they said that the 500 million people on the stones, they were talking about the stone hedges, I caught on to that. I said they placed that there, and then they scare people with that, talking, oh, we have to eliminate. So we're talking about alternative one, which is to eliminate 75% of the population. Alternative two is to go underground. Alternative three is to get out of here. Alternative four is to leave the people poisoned with all kinds of diseases and all of these things. What people have to realize is that you are your savior. You, the body, can reject and protect and deceive anything that is unwanted. So that's what we're doing right now. We are the filters, okay? We are the filters for the people who are going through these trials and tribulations. We're going through it, but we're much strong, like we're stronger. That's why we are who we are. The kings, the queens, the gods, the goddesses, the netiras, the netarus. This is why we come now, because of the state that we're in of awareness. So we have to what? Secure that. That's just like right now. This is secured. We have to secure that because we are in a growing state. We're not in a flopping state. We're in a growing state because all of the treaties is getting changed right now. I see that they had a thing about the this king that was because the Mary Windsor, Alexandra Mountbattenberg had fled the palace, the Buckingham Palace. You know,
I didn't hear that last bit, Nayya. Unfortunately, I didn't hear you.
I was saying that we are the Netarus, and that they have this king that they're putting in, okay, as of now, because the queen, so-called queen, fake queen, because she was really crowned with fake coronation. See, coronation, that goes into corona. See, coronation, look at corona. Coronation is a crowning. Her coronation was not televised. You understand that? So this is why we come to secure this. And who's supposed to be where? You're no more of false positioning.
But hey, I need to come in there because today Melchisedek sent me a photograph of outside of the palace, and there is a new plaque outside of there which has 77 on the front of it. So this Greg Greg Harlot. His emblem is 7-7. Now that flagged to me, I thought, okay, well, who is he then? Who is he really? Because if he's got 7-7 on there, we know who did 7-7. Is he part of the 7-7 brigade? You know, the 7-7 brigade, if you type in who the 7-7 brigade are, they are military operatives that are there to ensure the propaganda machine continues to run. Just type in 77th Brigade. So I have, you know, misgivings, for want of a better word, when I see in front of that palace is a 77, because I know in association with what is 77, I mean, I am 7, that's my name. And, you know, the reason why I flag up, apart from the fact that my name is 7, you know, we represent the Most High. We represent the higher, you know, the higher force of consciousness, in the sense of we bring in the truth, we stand for justice, peace, love. So, you know, I feel it's legitimate to use my name and at 7 o'clock. Now, all of a sudden, outside Buckingham Palace, as of today, I don't know, Melchisedek will have to say when it went there, whether it was yesterday, I don't know, but I received it today, that they have the Queen, the original woman that was living there, has removed whatever was there before, the royal seal or whatever it was in front of the palace. And what has been put up in place is, what is it, King John II, it says. And then in the center it says 7-7. Now, I'm questioning who, sorry?
It's 3 sevens.
It's 3 sevens, okay. Now, anybody that knows part of the targeting of me, there were vans outside my house with huge 3 sevens outside of my house, and that was put there by the deep state. So now when I see that outside of the palace, there's a 3 sevens there, and this apparently there's a new king, and his name's King John, it now makes me question, who is he? Who is really installing him in there? Because that represents to me deep state. So,
well,
that's my take.
Well, I'm going to go in heavy on this because
I can't confirm or deny that, but I just find it, what has the 7s got to do with?
Well,
go ahead, Nayya.
Remember that 7-7-7, right, is what? 21, right?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. 21, which is represents 2 and a 3. I mean 2 and a 1. Okay. So here it is that when you combine those two, you get what you would call a 3. Now, this 3 represents the 3rd dimension, okay? And this is what is being put up, okay, in front of people, that they're still operating on a 3rd dimensional wrong. You're not operating from a 5th dimensional. You're operating on a 3rd dimensional, because that's why I said with the male and the female. So here it is. She flees, and what? He what? Gets a seat. She leaves and he receives. So here it is now. They're juggling. So it's in a state of what? Confusion. And the 777, it represents
so is this part
direction.
of a distraction to you?
Yes, yes. Because this goes in to what you would call nucleotoid, okay? This goes into the cell nucleus. When you're talking about you're to be king, you're to be queen, we're talking about royal blood, and I'm talking about the blood of the ancients, of the righteousness. I'm not talking about these pretenders or who they elected to be. No, who is the real king and who is the real queen. And like I told you before, that they know that you're there. Because when you really get technical on this, that crown, like I told you, that she was wearing on her head, okay, even though you wouldn't want it, that crown belongs to the mother. Hands up. That crown belongs to the mother. The real mother, the real Ma, intelligence, that's where that crown belongs. Now, this guy steps in as king, okay, and what you're doing is coming up under from the what? From the female, but in a different form. I recognize that, okay? I recognize that because everything that she stands for, she has to give, all of that has to give up. So is he going to give everything up? As he's saying he's king, are you going to give everything up that's supposed to be given back? Everything has to return. All from the Metropolitan, all from the British Museum, all from all of these other museums. You're talking king? Okay, well, king, here it is. Let it spread far and wide. All of those artifacts, every gold piece, every known piece and unknown piece have to be returned to man, woman, and child. This is what this is about. They don't want the rising of the completeness. They want to bring it in as a breakup, sections. No, we're dealing with wholeness because it is sort of covered for everybody. So king is you're going to do what this fake queen did, this imposter, is you're going to do the same thing she did. I'm not talking about just signing treaties. I'm talking about give it back. Give back the thrones that they got. Give back everything. And they talking about a COVID. No. This is why so much stuff is going on anyway, because of the artifacts, what they're holding. And the right people is not in the right positions, and they're trying to what? To rob them of it. So this is why we're here again. To let the world know that there are thieves and robbers, and that we are here to take back the right way, with humbleness, okay, with proper authority, supreme authority, up under God authority. Everything that these thieves have stolen, you have to answer and give it back. We ask you a question, didn't you steal this in such and such in this year? Yes, we did. We have it here, you have to return it. Get that. Boys, go ahead, get that. Females, go on, sisters, get that. Take it right up on out of there. Boom, let's go. But they don't want that. They want to have a war. They want to give a mass vaccination. They want to monitor you so you won't have them kind of thoughts of powers of king and queen. They don't want that. They want to be put there. Because that's why you say, boy, you asking who is he? And I'm asking all of you. Do you know who he is? Did you do any study on who this king? And let's not even talk about Mary Windsor of Alexandria Mountbattenberg. I'm not even going to call her queen. I'm just going to call her by her name, Mary Windsor. Okay? So let me ask you, did anybody study on who she is, what race she is, and who and what planet she came from? Did they do any study? This is what I'm saying. Everybody will say that she's this and she's that. Do you know who she is? Literally. I'm asking that question to anybody.
Well, I mean, obviously, there's a lot of people who have put forward their, you know, their perspective on who she is. But the interesting thing is, you know, I mean, everybody seems to talking about this whole phenomena of this person going in, this new king situation. And I have to say, he doesn't represent my king. You know, it doesn't. I just have to be real with the people. It's not my king, right? Yeah, so let's just get that straight, you know. It ain't my king anyway. But let's just say this: there's a lot of I think there's a lot of hope maybe going into this situation, in the same way we had hope for Obama. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So now,
I don't know. I mean, I see the 777, and to me, that's a red flag. That's a Trojan horse, whereby, you know, God knows what. I can't say, but as you said, if it is somebody of the Most High and not the other side of the side of the energy field, then all the artifacts that were stolen will be returned, you know?
that's right.
And, you know, like you said, and, you know, what's been stolen from me will be returned, and all the other people across the world, and there will be a balance, a shift in the balance. However, I mean, I don't want to say just because there is a 777 that he isn't of the good, but to me that's a red flag. Whoa, this looks like a deep state move to me, and God knows if this is a deep state move, then it's going to be a lot worse than it was. That would be the intention, because the deep state, as we know, they don't have anything good for humanity. Everything they plan is pure evil from start to finish. So let's talk about the 5G, and then let's move into how people can protect themselves from 5G, if you don't mind.
All right. The 5G, you got going into the 5G. This is dealing with the what you would call the 5 gigahertz. Now, what a lot don't do is go to the root of the name giga. See, in ancient Sumer, right? The sa giga, G-I-G dash G-A, sa giga. You know what that represents? That represents the black heads. They call it the black heads. So now, the sa giga is represented out of civilization and man, woman, okay, in existence. So here it is. They use a 5. This is what I was telling you before about the names, about the bird with the COVID, and all. This is what they do. This is how they trick people. They got a 5G, and people looking like 5G, and they're talking, they're panicking, and they're standing right next to this machine, and they're going on loud and crazy. Now, you're being fried right there slowly, okay? Because you don't know what's happening. You don't have no kind of protection on your body, and you're running your mouth, saying all these things, and you have no protection. Now, the 5G is a scare tactic, okay, for those who don't know. Because the ones who do know, we have no fear for the 5G. That's why you see these glasses right here that you see on my face here, okay? And you see this here, 5G of those what? Of those harmful radiation waves that they're what? Building to cause harm to the what? To the neurotransmitters and to your to your antenna commissures and your coral callosum, okay, and your frontal lobes and your medulla oblongata, okay, and your hippocampus is where the other four senses are located of what they would give you the ability to use telepathy, clairvoyance, intuition, and psychometry. And the telepathy is where you can communicate with the mind without using the physical
What's
speech.
psychometry?
Psychometric is when you can hold an object or something or a clothing, a cloth, anything that belongs to a person and can tell.
Sorry, Nayya, I wanted to interject there to ask you what psychometry.
Psychometric is when you have the ability to tell something about a person accurately just by holding an object, something that belongs to them. You can hold it and you can look at it and you can tell them accurately what represents them, what is going on, just by holding that. You understand? Got that? Did you hear me? Did you hear me?
I can hear you. I don't know what's happened with 7. 7 has dropped off. Nayya. Oh,
But you
she's
hear me,
back.
right, Weber?
Yeah, 7's back.
I know.
Okay.
I just got back in. I got taken off for a minute, so I'm just getting back in. Yeah, I just wanted to just. So you're saying it's a divinationary. It's a divinationary skill. So to be able to hold an item and to tune in to who owned that item. Is that what you're saying, Nayya?
Yes. Yes.
Psychometry. Okay. Thank you. I know the practice, but not the name. So thank you very much for that. So so go ahead.
Now, the 5G, okay, this is dealing with the what they would call the colors. Okay, this is dealing with the colors of the body as well. And this, what it does is the 5G NR, right? The new radio, right? That is what they would call it includes a low frequency, so a FR1. Okay, so below a 6 gigahertz, right, and higher frequencies, which is the FR2, so above the 24 gigahertz. So, however, the speed of using the 5G NR, right, the new radio, right, the software on a 4G hardware, right, has nothing on the 5G, right, and it's only slightly better and a little faster than the 4G system, and it's estimated at a 15 to 50% operated, functioning better than the 4G. Okay, and what happens is that they start to, the 5G, what they're using, it starts to cause brain depletion, iron deficiency, zinc deficiency, magnesium deficiency. All of those deficiencies, okay, due to the lack of knowledge of the 5G, okay? This can be very harmful when you don't know it. When you do know it, it does not harm you because you already understand the understanding of the 1G, 2G, 3G, 4G, 5G, 6G, 7G, 8G, so on. You understand? And what this 5G does, right? It also causes heart attacks, okay? Because you have a heart brain, and it damages your heart brain because of the lack of attunement with Natir. So the 5G, what they're using in reverse, like what they're doing is magic, reverse magic, right, on the people who don't know that is already there for. Because we can absorb any kind of radiation that there is, the gamma rays, and they even showed that in the movie called Incredible Hulk. A lot watched it and a lot they have not. It showed you that when he did that, put the tool inside of the machine to test it with the gamma rays, what happened? It got real big, and then all of a sudden, boom, it exploded. What happened with him now, when he got in there, when he seen that the guy was in danger, he automatically ran to the machine, stuck his hands in there, and it just totally transformed him. So that went into his what? His cell nucleus. That is dealing with the hydrogen, because hydrogen is the what? Is the mother of all of the what? Of the elements. Hydrogen is first, and that's to hide the origin. It means to hide the origin of things. Okay?
Okay.
So when you notice the Incredible Hulk, he stuck David Banner, he stuck his arm in there, and he was able to absorb all of those gamma rays, and he can turn green, which is another stage, which is gone 3 other stages, red, yellow, and blue. Okay?
Okay. So let's talk a little bit now, because we have just coming up for about 10 minutes left, Nayya. And so in terms of how does one protect, because I know that you use copper and you use various different crystals, and you make healing devices of all kinds. Thank you. So how does one protect themselves and shield themselves from these low frequencies and this radiation? Because obviously we're hearing a lot of people are complaining of respiratory symptoms, and obviously the oxygen not being able to get to the blood properly and the blood not being able to flow. What mechanisms can be utilized to counteract that or to shield that? Are there things that people can get hold of or make
Yes.
themselves even, perhaps?
Yes. You can use copper. Reason why I say copper is because you have copper inside of your body. It's found throughout your tissue. Okay, it's found in your brain. It's found in your heart. It's found in your stomach. It's in your liver. Okay, and that's one of the places that holds the most, that contains the most copper, which is the liver. Okay, so the copper is a metal, and the electrons can move freely through the metal. So for this reason, they are known as free electrons. So they are also known as conductive electrons because they help the copper to be a good conductor of the heat and the electricity. So by that being inside of the body, one has to also tap into what? The earth, what? To match. You have to match where you're living at. You have to adapt to where you're living at. You have to know earth. So the earth contains the copper.
So are you saying that the environment is copper?
Yes, yes. Yes.
That's interesting.
And the copper, like I said, it's what they call a protector, because what it does, it's antimicrobial. So by them talking about a COVID or anything like that, any diseases, you can twist the copper in a biogeometry shape or form, okay? It's on the twist in the copper, okay? Because a lot of people go out and go to the store and go buy a piece of copper and just put it around their neck and just think that that's supposed to be it. No, it doesn't happen like that. You have to do magic with this copper, and that's why ancient Kemet, ancient Sumer, ancient Kush, you would know, and even in Mexico, all over, has been using the copper, and they know that the copper is the most protective, okay, against any kind of harmful radiations and diseases, bacteria, viruses. It's A1, and they know it through Dr. Bill Keevil. You can look up Dr. Bill Keevil, Keevil, right? And Dr. Warner, Dr. Warner, and they did a test with the copper and on stainless metal. Don't you know within 4 hours, they put the virus on the copper. Within 4 hours with the copper, you didn't, but with the stainless steel metal, you still see the specks of it there. The screen looks still almost full. So this is actual proof, through scientific proof, that this copper is your number one aider.
So they conducted. So they could.
The copper.
So they conducted scientific experiments, Nayya.
Yes.
Are you saying they conducted scientific experiments like the man that did with the water to be able to determine the power of water? So you're saying that they did the same thing with copper, and they saw that. What was the findings?
They found that the copper eliminates their so-called COVID. That's the killer. The copper here is the killer to their little germ. That's why you see it here in my nose. See the copper in my nose. Okay? This is an extra filter right along with the nose hairs for the nostril cavity, okay, for the sinus cavity, so that it protects me from all unwanted particles, just like the kidneys, okay? And the eyes, it protects, and the nose protects from unwanted particles. So that's what the copper does. It protects the body from unwanted particles.
Right, because I do know that, you know, on my machine, I mentioned this to Alfred, I think, but on my machine, there's some information about eye tracking software that's on my machine, and I have stuff floating around in my eyes, which is, you know, definitely been airborne and got into my eyes. But now I've noticed when they've put in this new Windows 10, it's actually got a part. If you type on your machine, people, if you've got Windows 10, eye tracking and see what comes up. I want to know whether it's just my machine or it's everybody's machine now, because they're definitely, there's a phenomena of people having floaters, what's called floaters. And, you know, we know that they're using some form of airborne, whatever it is, and actually it's getting into people's eyes. And so people, please have a look at your computer to see where it talks about eye tracking, because that seems to be something that's being done to people as well. So it's interesting you were talking about, because you wear those copper glasses on your eyes. Is that to protect your eyes as well, yeah?
Yes, indeed.
Okay. So to summarize, we have 3 minutes left, Nayya, unfortunately. It's so fascinating talking to you, and it's gone so quickly, and there's so much that I know that you can share. We're going to have to get you on again for a longer session on another occasion. But if people want to find out about your work, or even get, because I know you make these copper devices, protective devices, how can people find you?
Well, you can go on your search bar on the Facebook. You could type in Gagonite, 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 okay, and you would see Nefertari, a copper goddess, Netiru. She's there. You would see that pop up, or you would see Anubis, Anpu. And you can go there and you can have a browse. You know, like I said, information is being loaded up there, like, you know, weekly. So I had took a pause for a couple days, but you can go there. You can type up the Gagonite. You can link me with my email. You know, you can link me on my Facebook. I'm also going to be.
What is your Facebook page? Can you just mention your Facebook page and your email if people want to buy the copper or your devices?
It's Amun Netro. AMUN.
Can you spell it for us?
AMUNNETRO. Netro.
Okay. Oh, that's your Facebook page, but then in your email, is it amunnetro@gmail.com?
Yes. Netiru. It's Amun Netiru. Netiru.
Okay. Can you spell that for people? So AMUN.
AMUNNTR@gmail.com.
That's great. Well, thank you so much for your presentation. You have so much knowledge, Nayya. It's just not enough time. Even though we had that extra hour, you know, we could have gone on for another one, just looking at some of the things that your perspectives on things is very unique. And that's why it's very good for people to open their mind and look at this situation from another perspective, you know, because obviously we know that these people are deeply ritualistic, and we know that there's a lot of sciences that are involved in a lot of the sort of signaling and a lot of the coding, and even some of the military stuff that's going on. A lot of it is deeply ritualistic. And so when we get somebody, the opportunity to speak to somebody like you who has a in-depth understanding, you know, it is a real gift. So I'm really, really grateful. Thank you for sharing. And thank you to Melchisedek, who made an appearance in the garden. Didn't get to talk much, but did share some of his devices whilst he was tottering around in the garden. And, you know, I know that you speak about Melchizedek order. which is something that people can look up. It's also part of the 144,000. And, you know, basically, they're also known in the Bible as the 11th hour workers. So, you know, these are people that are called, and it's all part of the divine order, things being corrected. So stay alert, everybody, as Nayya has shared with us. It's important to keep our eyes open and to look deeper, not just on the surface of things. Alfred is there. You didn't get really a chance to say anything. I don't know the time. Was there anything you wanted to say before we sign off?
Well, I just wanted to thank Nayya and Melchisedek. This was a very deep session with a lot of insights. Perhaps at the next session, I would like to do an intervention and ask Nayya some questions.
Okay. Well, thank you, Alfred, and thank you, Nayya. I'm very, very grateful, and big respect to both of you. And Melchisedek, oh, you're still there, Melchisedek. He's another wonderful scientist that makes these devices, Alfred. You know, he's wearing a lot of his devices, and a lot of them are very protective from radiation and viruses. And we should perhaps give information. Mel, we'll take your information and put it in the comment section of the video for anybody who wants to get your devices as well as Nayya's. Thank you both. It was a great pleasure to talk to you. Thank you so much, Alfred, for sharing the platform with us and being able to bring this information to the people. We say love to everybody. Stay safe and keep yourself on guard. Pay attention. Pay attention. Look at things from every angle and don't take in the lies that they're giving you. Okay, and on that note, we say goodbye. Thank you.